Breaking news out of Chicago. The Bears have stumbled to an 0-2 start in the 2025 season, and the pressure on head coach Ben Johnson is already sky-high. Major changes could be coming, and the clock is ticking before this season slips away. Now, before we get into the latest developments, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss a single update. Let's move on to the new news. One of the first things Johnson must do is unleash Kyle Monangai. The coaching staff keeps talking about getting him more carries, but so far, it's been all talk and no action. Against Houston, he logged just 7 carries for 28 yards, 6 of them coming when the game was already out of reach. That's simply not enough. The Bears' ground game has been one of the worst in the league, and unless Monangai becomes a real factor, this offense will remain one-dimensional. And let's talk about DeAndre Swift. On paper, the offensive line is opening holes. Chicago actually ranks number 1 in the league in yards before contact, nearly 2 full yards before defenders even touch him. But here's the problem: despite that, the Bears rank near the bottom in rushing efficiency and success rate. That tells you Swift is leaving plays on the field, missing opportunities to turn routine runs into drive-sustaining gains. Sure, he can hit the occasional big play, but consistency is nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, rookie quarterback Caleb Williams has quietly held his own. According to multiple breakdowns, his performance in Week 2 showed poise, command, and flashes of greatness, even as the pieces around him continue to crumble. And here's where things get even more concerning. DeAndre Swift isn't just leaving yards on the ground, his struggles in pass protection are becoming a major liability. Defenses know it, and they're targeting him because of it. Against Detroit, the Lions attacked Swift every chance they got, and the results were ugly: poor footwork, drifting backward, and getting blown off his spot. If you can't consistently protect your quarterback and you're not maximizing rushing lanes, your role in the offense becomes very questionable. That's why it's time to give serious looks to Kyle Monangai and Roscoe Johnson. No one is saying these guys are superstars, but they deserve opportunities. Swift can still have a role, but the Bears can't afford to keep forcing him into situations where he's struggling week after week. Now, the second issue might be even more glaring: left tackle Braxton Jones. For weeks, we've heard the same debate: give him time, wait until the bye week, see if he settles in. But through 2 games, it's been rough. In Detroit, Aiden Hutchinson absolutely took over the matchup as the game went on, exposing Jones in every way. By the end of the night, Jones had given up 13 pressures already this season, including 2 sacks in that game alone. And it's not just pass protection. His run blocking has dropped off as well. If he was still a dominant run blocker, maybe you could live with the pass pro issues, but right now he's below average across the board. That doesn't work for a team that demands its tackles hold up one-on-one. Darnell Wright isn't perfect, but at least he's been steady and reliable. Jones simply hasn't been. Darnell Wright, for all his flaws, has proven to be a much stronger one-on-one pass protector and a force in the run game. Yes, he still needs to cut down on mental mistakes, but the foundation is there. With Braxton Jones, the problem is different. It isn't just mistakes, it's a lack of strength and consistency. He's not an outright disaster, but it's becoming painfully clear he's not the long-term solution at left tackle. That's where Theo comes in. Nobody truly knows what he is yet, but he's shown flashes. He had a solid camp, held his own in preseason reps, and against Detroit he quietly played the final 15 snaps. That wasn't just a coincidence. And while the sample size is small, he didn't look overwhelmed. At this stage, that might be enough to justify giving him a shot. Ideally, the Bears would have loved Ossie Chillo to grab that opportunity, but he's been mostly stationed on the right side and wasn't even active last week. That leaves Benedet as the next man up. Sometimes, you just have to take the unknown over the disappointment you've already seen. Based on Braxton's struggles, it may be time to make that switch and see what happens. And while we're on the topic of adjustments, let's talk defense. There's a number floating around about Chicago's blitzing rate that is shocking, even lower than anyone expected. Defensive coordinator Dennis Allen has to take a hard look at that because the current approach is simply not creating pressure. We'll break down that number in just a moment. The pass rush problem isn't just a weakness anymore, it's a full-blown crisis. Through 2 games, Chicago's front 4 has looked powerless, and the refusal to bring extra heat has only magnified the issue. Right now, the Bears are blitzing less than any other team in football. Just 7.5% of the time. That's not cautious, that's flat-out passive. In today's NFL, if you don't pressure quarterbacks, they will pick you apart. And that's exactly what we've seen. Clean pockets, receivers working free, and a defense constantly stuck on the field. The philosophy simply doesn't add up. You can't expect an average defensive line to consistently win 4-on-5 matchups. Without help, the edges are collapsing, and opposing offenses know it. They're not just exploiting Chicago, they're game planning to attack it. Dennis Allen has a decision to make: stay conservative and watch this defense collapse, or start turning up the aggression. Because if nothing changes, this isn't just going to cost the Bears games, it could cost them their entire season. Here's the reality: the Bears are already getting burned, and playing it safe isn't saving them. With injuries piling up in the secondary, TJ Edwards sidelined, and even the safeties struggling, this bend-but-don't-break strategy has collapsed. Miscommunication, blown coverages, receivers running wide open, it's happening every single week. At some point, you have to take risks. Because when you're giving up 52 points in a game, what exactly are you protecting? Opposing quarterbacks are tearing this defense apart, and now Dak Prescott, who's playing like an MVP, is next on the schedule. Add in CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Jake Ferguson, and you quickly see why sitting back is a death sentence. The answer? Bring pressure. Force mistakes. Yes, you'll give up yards, but at least you create opportunities for takeaways. Right now, teams are moving the ball at will, and Chicago is handing out career performances like candy. Jared Goff just walked away with NFC Offensive Player of the Week, the second straight quarterback to earn that award after facing this defense. That should be a wake-up call. And on the other side of the ball, the Bears need to start trusting their young playmakers. Rookie tight end Colston Loveland has just 2 catches for 12 yards. Luther Burden, the highly touted receiver, only 2 grabs as well. These are top draft picks, players brought in to change the offense, and yet they're barely on the field. That has to change immediately. Here's the bottom line: the Bears need to start trusting their rookies. Yes, Olamide Zaccheaus had a strong camp and has made a couple of plays, but has he really done enough to justify taking snaps away from Luther Burden? Burden was drafted to be a difference maker, and it's time to start finding ways to put the ball in his hands, not just on offense, but on special teams as well. A player with that kind of explosiveness should be used on punt and kick returns, alongside Devin DuVernay. The same goes for Colston Loveland. He looked sharp in the preseason, but through 2 games he has just 2 catches. If you spend a top 10 pick on a tight end, you can't use him as a blocker week after week. At some point, you have to let him be what he was drafted to be: a weapon in the passing game. Otherwise, you should have taken a pass rusher or a lineman. And then there's Shamar Turner. Yes, he missed camp with an ankle injury, but he's healthy now and sitting inactive on game days while players like Chris Williams eat up snaps without making much of an impact. Defensive tackle is a rotation position, there's no reason Turner can't get 10 to 15 snaps to show what he can do. You used a second-round pick on him. Let him play. This coaching staff has preached competition since day one. Well, it's time to back that up. If the veterans aren't producing, give the rookies a chance. Chicago's 0-2 start is proof enough that the current formula isn't working. Change is not optional, it's mandatory.